Hey everybody, Rock DIY here. I did a previous video on installing the mud flap, and then I did another video on using this Rust-Oleum undercoating inside the wheel wells of my truck. Unfortunately, it's a little bit dirty because it rains almost every day this time of the year. This is now part 2 of the wheel wells because I knew what I was going to do was put the undercoating in the wheel wells and then come back and put wheel well liners inside, because what I didn't want to do is put just the wheel well liners on and then not be able to see what's going on behind the wheel well liner. So I did put the undercoating on, and it is a rubberized coating. And my dog just found a frog. I do have this rubberized undercoating inside the wheel well, which will help protect everything behind the wheel well liner. So today I finally got the wheel well liners. Here they are in this box here. So this is both of the rear wheel well liners. They got some zip ties on it to keep them together. Feel pretty sturdy. About 1/8 of an inch thick. Got some pre-drilled holes. And then there's the instructions, and should also be some hardware, which is right there. There we go. There's the wheel well liners, the hardware. Here's what you get with the 2 wheel well liners. So you get these 4 J-clips, 4 10mm bolts. You get 8 rubber washers, and then you get 4 Christmas tree retainers, and then you also get the instructions. It's pretty straightforward on how to put it on. Here we go. I'm going to put the driver's side rear wheel well liner on my truck, and you know this is the driver's side because here it's got DS, and on the passenger side it will have PS. This is a pretty easy job. Goes pretty quick. There are only 5 holes that you have to deal with. This portion of it, you basically just slide it in place. This lip right here, you will have to tuck in behind the fender. For these 2 holes right here, you will have to have the J-clips on the inside wall in order to put the 10mm bolts into the hole to hold it in place. So once you have the J-clip behind here, in here, you will put a rubber washer here, then put a 10mm bolt, same thing, J-clip, washer, and then 10mm bolt. For this hole here, which is towards the back of the truck, there is a bolt that is on the truck that's a 10mm. You will have to remove that prior to putting the liner in, and then what you will do is once the liner is in, you'll put the 10mm bolt back in, and a washer does not go here. The only 4 that'll have washers are this one, this one, this one, and this one. Right here is the one 10mm bolt that does need to be removed prior to the installation of the wheel well liner. There is no nut behind it, so you don't need to worry about that. Here's everything you need to put the wheel well liner on. 10mm socket. You got 2 J-clips. These 2 J-clips will go here and here prior to putting the wheel well liner in. Then you got your 4 rubber washers. You got 2 Christmas tree retainers, the 2 bolts that will go into that hole, and that hole once the wheel liner's in. And then this is the original bolt that came off the truck that will go back on. These J-clips are going to go on. You don't want this piece facing out. You want it facing to the inside. And then all you do is slide it on, and it's going to fit on there loosely. And then do the same thing with your other one. Those are in place, and then now you can put your wheel well liner on. All you need to do is make sure this inside lip is over the tire. And then just slide it over. Once it's inside, just go ahead and push it up. And then now what you have to do is start tucking these side pieces in, so you can tilt it that way a little bit to get this side in, and then get the other side. You have to push it. In, and you want to make sure that it is tucked behind the lip, and as you put the bolts in, it'll sit in there better. It doesn't look or feel like it's gonna stay where it needs to stay, but it will. So now go ahead and line up these holes. Line up these holes here. Get a 10mm bolt and a washer. Get this one started. Do the same thing with the other one. You just want to get it started, because you don't want to tighten everything down and then find out that you got to loosen everything to get it to line up properly. So like I said, these 2 bolts have the washers on them, and then you have the 10mm bolt that you took off back here, that you're going to put back in place. This bolt right here can be a little difficult to get started, but once you get it started, everything will be okay. All right, so got this one in, and then these 2 in, not tightened down all the way, because I still have the one down here and the one over here that need to go in. These are probably the more complicated ones, just because you got to reach under and around the bottom of the fender to get to that hole. The best way to do this is to stick the Christmas tree retainer through the hole first, and then take the washer from the back side and put it on, because trying to hold this washer in place and lining it up while trying to put the retainer in just makes it a little bit harder. Something to note is when you're putting this on, so this retainer is already through and you're trying to put the rubber washer on, the retainer is going to want to push the rubber washer out, and you're not going to get these little teeth to grip onto the rubber washer. But what you can do after you get it in place is you can take a socket like this, take a socket from the back side and push down as you push on the top of the retainer, and that'll make sure that it seats on there well. Got the Christmas tree retainer in place. And I'm pushing the rubber washer on. Now I'm going to use the socket to make sure it gets on there correctly. And it actually slides on there pretty good using the socket. So that side's done. I just need to do the other side. Once again, I'll do the same thing. Stick the Christmas tree retainer in here. And then reach around, put the rubber washer in place. Alright, so those are in place. Now, last thing to do is tighten tighten the 3 10mm bolts. There you go, everything's in place. So you got the Christmas tree retainer right here with the washer behind it. Got the 10mm bolt back on the back side of the wheel well, and this is the one bolt that came off the truck and then got put back on. And then there are 2 J clips, one here, and then a washer and a 10mm bolt, a washer and a 10mm bolt, and then a Christmas tree retainer over here with a rubber washer behind it holding it in place there. Last thing is to double check to make sure that the wheel liner is completely tucked behind the lip on the fender, and it is. It's pretty stable, covers quite a bit. Obviously can't cover everything because of the movement of the suspension. This backside lip comes down quite a bit, but it does afford quite a bit of protection inside the wheel well, and it does sit off the majority of the metal under the wheel well. So even if you do get some hard impacts underneath in the wheel well liner, it won't necessarily put some dings or dents inside your wheel well inside the bed of the truck. And there you go, that's it. Thank you for watching this video on how to install rear wheel well liners on a 2021 Ford F-150 Lariat.